I've been playing a lot of Dragon Quest.
Which one?
11.
Oh,
I never, the last one to come out, I guess. I did play it when it first came out, and I played it a decent amount, but I felt like I never really gave it a chance. And I know this for a fact. Dragon Quest is a game that you have to get like 40 hours in before it really starts to just take off.
Yeah, and that one is particularly slow as far as skills and gear and all that stuff. I feel like you're just kind of bare bonesing it for like a good 20 hours in that game before it starts to get a little complex, and that can really turn people off of a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's like, okay, the whole node system is always cool. I mean, it's somewhat pointless in that type of game because I guess you could break down any game into this. Traditionally you would just get different skills and spells as you level up, right? This where you're just putting a slight options to when you might get those skills.
Right, exactly.
But
it does catering to the weapon you want to use. For each character, which is kind of an 8 thing as well. I guess it's a Dragon Quest thing, but
yeah. Well, I kind of remember in 8, is it just like a skill system, like a skill up system?
Mm-hmm.
Like as
you just automatically get the skills that are on that skill tree. You literally put points into attributes, basically.
Oh, right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of wish there was just really a system where while you're using that weapon, you gain proficiency in that weapon or something, because that would just be better. I think. It's been really fun. I actually I beat the game, but after you beat the game, there's like a sort of sizable end game
situation.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's been like
the last thing I did in that game before I fell off of it was the ice city, like the snow.
Oh yeah, okay.
Frozen city or whatever. And I think I finished that area and went on to the next one. I can't remember. But I mean, that's it.
You're like halfway, maybe 60-70% there. Like
I figured.
There's like shifts, right? And right after that, like spoilers, you don't exactly win. And some pretty great stuff happens after that.
Nice. Yeah, I need to beat it. I'm going to New York in like a week, so I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff in my Switch that I want to play, and that's one of. It's a good Switch game. I mean, it doesn't look as nice and shiny as the PS4 version, but
it's fun. That's what I've been playing on. I really enjoyed playing it on the Switch. I think, overall the game does feel disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it feels like some things are written pretty well and hit pretty hard. It's almost like they had issues with sticking to what Dragon Quest is, right? Like that would probably a barrier for a little bit. And then because I feel like there's always that, we use this term a lot, this word a lot in this podcast, is charm, right? In Dragon Quest, it's got that in strides.
It's spilling over with charm.
Yeah. It's like Disney levels of charm, right? Except for it's Dragon Ball Z, so it's great. But then with that, you're trying to have like these hard hitting moments. It's kind of like, well, I don't know exactly how I feel about this, especially if there's no. Not enough exposition to really set up like oh, this person dies and I don't really care, and oh, now this person died and I really care.
That's definitely
there's a lot of those moments where it's like back and forth. It's kind of like, oh, this was not given enough attention,
right?
This is perfect.
But
I don't know, it's fun. I could not and I cannot put it down. Once I really got into it, it's just all the pieces there. If you like Dragon Quest, fantastic.
I remember I was dead hooked on it for a good bit, and just it was one of those novelty times where the Switch felt really cool because you could play a full scale Dragon Quest RPG handheld, and you compare that to say the DS and you know platforms like that where it was always a little bit scaled down to fit on that system, and now it's like, no, it's just a full Dragon Quest, you know, AAA title, and it was
Yeah.
neat. I've always had it in my carry case because I'm like, I have to have this because I will play it eventually.
Right.
Like I will beat this eventually. So working on that. Also have to beat Sea of Stars. I'm terrible.
That game's like, okay, Dragon Quest is like 80 hours, right?
Yeah,
This
Sea
is
of Stars is
like,
like a 30, 40.
yeah, like 30, something like that.
That'll probably be the next one I beat. I have to beat Tears of the Kingdom. And the
Well, don't
only
get me
reason I
started on that.
haven't, yeah, the only reason I haven't is because of my horrible, horrible mishap with my file being
Yeah.
deleted,
Yeah.
which I passed back up. But I keep getting distracted by my ADHD and wanting to play every game I can possibly think of in that moment all the time. Um, I don't know. I'm all over the place lately. I was playing um, Wolfenstein, the New Colossus again after I beat the New Order, and then I got distracted from that and started playing The Last of Us remake again. After I heard that Part Two is being remade in January, or
Ooh.
that's releasing in January,
I
and
own that on a computer and have not touched it.
Part Two,
No, the,
the first
the first one.
remake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got it when I bought my graphics card.
Oh right. Damn good game.
Yeah.
Very good
I
game.
know.
It's a must play.
It's on the list.
Yeah, no. Then in the middle of all that, I bought the Spyro Reignited trilogy for like $12 and was playing through that. And then just decided in the middle of that I needed to buy the $10 Ultimate Edition of Control on
Oh
PlayStation 5,
yeah. Well, I
which
mean, I love that.
yeah, I've beaten Control before.
Right.
But
But
it's one of those
$10,
$10 for the Ultimate Edition with all the DLC and stuff, which I have not played. And I haven't played it on PS5, so I get to enjoy the ray tracing. And damn, that game is cool. It's just a cool game.
Yeah. Control. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that game.
and it's
Actually.
and it's gorgeous. Like fidelity wise, the ray
Yeah.
tracing that was a ray tracing seller back when it came out. That was the whole big deal. It was like, look at all of the realistic lighting mechanics and the reflections, and since they made this supernatural government building, they were able to, you know, cater the design qualities to what would make ray tracing look good. Because it may not be the most resource intensive game ever made. I don't know. It could be, but I doubt it. But they worked well with what they had.
Right.
Some of the animation stuff is like, yeah, this feels a little PS4 now. Like,
Yeah.
some of the weird animation qualities, and I spent like 10 minutes doing the dash with her in the air because she has like a weird stutter where she like basically A poses for a second, and
Yeah.
it happens like every single time, and it's really distracting. And I have to remind myself that this isn't a Naughty Dog game where there's that frame perfect animation quality. It's a different type of studio, and I don't know.
Right.
Alan Wake 2 might be a totally different case. I haven't had, like, I've seen it and it
Right.
looks amazing, but I haven't had my hands on it to see if it still is that, extremely impressive, realistic quality. But that being said, I'm enjoying going through it the second time because I feel like I'm approaching it with a better mindset of, the first time I played it, I didn't really realize how much of a Metroidvania that game was
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
how focused it is on responsive combat.
Right.
And I feel like that works so well with me now and what I'm interested in picking up and playing. And so that's been fun to just, I guess, have a come in with the right mindset to play this type of game?
I mean, I would assume I'd just go pick up Alan Wake 2 before I play Control again. But I did love that. One of these days, I'll have to run back through it. I don't. I mean, I'm guessing now he had to be in the first one. But is it Otto? What's the name of the janitor? Adi. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, he's totally in Alan Wake 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that clip, and he's like singing a song. Yeah. Alan Wake 2 looks bonkers, and I really want to play it, but I feel like that's going to be a post-Christmas pickup for me because my budget is completely maxed out right now, and the only thing I could really afford to do was pick up a $10 version of Control.
Yeah, so, I understand. I've been playing Dragon Quest 11, so
that's true.
It's like we got like Super Mario RPG, which we've been talking about for forever on this podcast. That remake came out, and Alan Wake 2. Yeah, I mean that's on the board. Even though I'm a big baby, and that looks so scary. Yeah,
but it looks really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I do really want to play it because it does look really cool. But they definitely like do jump scares a lot. Seemingly,
that's what I've heard, and that obviously doesn't bother me, but I know, that you tend to be a little more apprehensive when you're gonna have to psych yourself up for that.
Yeah, exactly. But they sold me on that universe with Control, so honestly, I'm invested at this point.
That's my thing is the level of realization just running around the Bureau of Control.
Right.
I'm just like, this is just really impressive. Like,
yeah, like writing wise, it's off the wall, but it's just great. I love it.
Figured it all out.
I don't know why I love that so much, but I do.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on 1 second.
Also, I kind of want to know what the fuck Adi even is, because I don't know. And why he would be in Alan Wake's world too? I mean, I guess it's all the same world. I don't know how that works. It's different dimensions, I think, actually.
Sorry, I had to send a message.
Connected through the weird hotel thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's that whole vibe is that it's all the supernatural. It's like take the aesthetic from X-Files and I don't know, some 1970s bureaucratic FBI chic, and boom, you have like this controlling
Twilight Zone and
all that good stuff. Alan Wake, you're kind of combining all that with like a Stephen King aesthetic, and everything is just all psychological and effed up and stuff. But yeah, I'm trying not to think about Alan Wake 2 because I don't want my I want to enjoy Control, and then if I keep thinking about Alan Wake 2, and be like, it's like this isn't what I really want. But for right now, it is. The game's cool. I love psychic powers. It's
me too.
Fun in video games. They don't make enough video games with psychic powers.
No, they really don't. And I mean, I don't know. It just it's like more enjoyable than being a superhero or something to me.
Yeah, because I mean,
still feel vulnerable. But
I like that you can feel superhuman while still having a fun third-person shooter, which that's not necessarily the case when you're doing like a superhero game, or you're doing a game like Psychonauts.
It's a cool Morphe gun.
Yeah, the Morphe gun is cool. Trying to use different variations of it this time, because I think previously I don't know what I used, but yeah. Anyway, do you want to move on to our main event?
Yeah,
let's go
to the challenge corner.
All right, folks, we have something super special today. Welcome, by the way, to the Nerding Grounds podcast, this here weekly show where we talk about new and old video games and whatever is currently tickling our fancy. This week, we are going to head back to our challenge brackets, which, if you were listeners to the audio version before we moved on to video version, um, you would remember the best of the 90s and the best of the 2000s that we did. And this shouldn't be nearly as extensive as those challenge brackets were. But, if you're familiar with any March Madness thing that all these podcasts do with movies and whatnot, we are taking these characters from popular video game franchises from Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, taking the main protagonists from those games and pitting them against one another in a matchup system. So you can see here we got Dante, Geralt of Rivia, Link, Samus Aran, Mario, Sonic, Kratos, Master Chief, Leon Kennedy, Raiden, Lara Croft, Ellie, Aloy, Jill Valentine, Solid Snake, and Nathan Drake. Those are the matchups, also in order if you're listening to this version. So, yeah. And I guess rules. The way I'm thinking about this is we basically take like the most ideal version of these characters. So, in terms of Solid Snake, I don't really feel like picking old Snake, but I don't know what.
Right.
If you have a different thought around that, like, should it be old Snake since that was the last version of him we saw in a video game? And if you're looking at someone like Raiden,
we can just take the best versions,
version.
If we have to, well, we can think about them as just like a whole, right? Yeah. There's some place where that's applicable. I mean, even if we're talking about Old Snake, it's not like Old Snake isn't any less badass,
No, maybe but we want to account for what resources they had available to them at that time, what knowledge they possess, etc., etc.
Right. I mean, we just take the good and the bad. But like, okay, if I'm looking at Kratos here, I'm personally am not a fan of his his original sort of storytelling, where I absolutely love the newer games, right?
Sure. With that, I think either one is fair because that continuity,
they're kind of the same. It's mainly as far as how Kratos. We'll get into it, but
we're gonna get into it.
It's mainly his lighter sides, right? Like his obviously his interactions with his son, right? That's a lot different. You don't get those from the original game. You just get but he still has in the new ones.
Yeah, and I think we're on the same page with that, and we can iron out caveats as we move along too. So how this is. We're not big sticklers for the rules. No. I mean, I am normally, but I'm gonna be chill.
Well, here we make the rules, and we can make them as we go.
Yeah. And I kind of picture this as like I don't know if it's like a Coliseum battle or if it's just like two characters are dropped in a battlegrounds of sorts. I like to think they should be able to play to their strengths if they have them versus it just being like a floating rock in the sky or a Coliseum and stuff. Yeah. So let's say they're being dropped on an island.
Right. Well, and I got nothing. Let's go on. You know what? It's fine. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. We're going to start really strong. First matchup of the best video game protagonist challenge. It's going to be Dante from Devil May Cry. And I feel like you can pick any version of that character you want. He's pretty much the same guy. I'm going to go with Devil May Cry 5. Because He hits people with motorcycles, and that's awesome. And then we have Geralt of Rivia. Now,
Geralt.
Henry Cavill doesn't count, obviously, and the books don't count. It's the
Right.
game, only the game.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not like who would win in a fight sort of thing, right? It's just like their entire being. Who do we feel like? How do these characters match up?
I'm kind of picturing a fight. I feel like
because if we're doing a fight, it's like it's Dante. He's half demon. He can pick up a motorcycle like it's nothing and smack things in the face. I don't see how Geralt wins that fight. You know what I mean?
I don't know. What is Geralt's job?
Hunting monsters, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying he isn't a badass, right? But all these things are okay. What is Geralt's basically best weapon that he has?
His knowledge.
Exactly. He's basically Batman. All right. Now I guess we can go whole. He's gonna have obviously gonna have some way to defeat Dante and his utility belt because he's Batman, right?
That's what
And
I'm saying. What if he knows? You know, you have all these like he obviously has extensive knowledge of demonology, which I feel like Dante would fall under, knowing what like sword coatings or poisons that would like if you're taking
if there is such a thing, you know,
let's but like he puts that stuff together from like roots and
right?
Blood and stuff, and it's like, oh, the blood of a hawk is venomous or poisonous to like this weird monster from mythology and stuff.
Right.
And I would say, you know, if they're on a one-on-one sword fight, Dante's probably going to win just because he can be
pure brute strength.
Yeah.
Dante's way stronger. Like Geralt's obviously really strong for a human, but Dante is not a human, right?
No, he's half human.
He's half human, but you know, and then half like the strongest demon, ever in their universe. You know,
he's also got magic on his side.
Right,
Geralt has
a little bit,
which got a little bit.
It lets me to believe that he would not instantly die in this situation. And don't get me wrong, like I love both these characters. I really love Geralt more than like Dante. I love the Devil May Cry series, but Dante's obviously a little too goofy for me sometimes, you know? Where Geralt's just pure badass all the time. But I think Geralt would not instantly lose. Like he would hold his own for a little bit, but inevitably lose.
I mean, it's kind of the Batman Superman conundrum where it's like
kind of
in every way Batman should be,
but Dante does not have a kryptonite that I'm aware of.
Again, though, I'm saying like if he's I mean if you're saying what's the specific item, like I don't think anybody
if it existed, if there was any point in time in any game where they said like, okay, yeah, like this is Dante's weakness or he almost gets his butt kicked because of this, then yeah, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, we could say Geralt would figure out what that is. You know, just hypothetically, but without that even existing anywhere in the lore, but you know,
I mean, I think the only thing
I mean, we're pretty sure he's virtually immortal. Actually, like that's what we know about Dante. He like can't really die.
But I think they have like a tendency to be, and I'm not saying you have to be like killed to be knocked off this roster, but I guess that's what I'm saying. Like if Geralt could find a way to disable him by using some concoction or some poison, and then you know,
well, let's say he took away like his demon powers or something, sapped him of that,
or just you know,
and we're getting into a pure sword fight. I don't know. Can Dante even really like wield his sword? It's kind of massive.
You can
Without,
go.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I guess like if you're talking about Geralt's sword fighting style, it's more of like a dancing,
right,
like not necessarily agility, but dexterity thing.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
he's dodging and shifting, moving like that. That being said, I know Dante is extremely fast too.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, if it comes down to specifics,
and
I don't know exactly what. I'm just saying. I think yeah, maybe Geralt could do something to find out what the weakness is to this demon, half demon guy, and use that against him. But I don't know. Since I don't have a specific thing in mind, maybe
that's what I because otherwise, how do you even rate that? Like, and I'm saying, like I said, I probably like Geralt more than Dante, but I really think Dante would win that fight. Even if I guess it depends on how much of Dante's prowess of a fighter is due to his half demon side, right? But if we look at it, how easily he masters a bunch of different weapons like it was nothing,
yeah.
uh he he clearly is just a very, very good fighter even outside of his demon powers, but then he is like an immortal demon, so virtually immortal, I guess.
Who's gonna kill him if
Yeah.
it's not for Geralt?
I don't know, right? Someone who could probably like rip him in half, of which
Yeah.
there's plenty of people out there. I'd even given to I guess we'll cross that bridge when we
Yeah,
come
I
to
guess
it.
there are people on this list that could
Yeah.
take Dante, but maybe it's
There's a
yeah.
couple that I would say could, and I don't think Geralt's the one.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a little closer for me, but I'm sort of torn between them. So if you're feeling heavily about Dante, I could agree with that.
I think it would be like a maybe a long but more or less one-sided fight, but I could be looking at it wrong. I mean, I kind of get it. You're saying like, okay, if Geralt does Geralt's thing, then he goes into that fight knowing Dante's weakness and how to counter him and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he still has to be able to hold off hold his own against someone like Dante.
Yeah, for sure.
Tough.
Um, Dante doesn't have cat eyes. Just saying.
No.
Were both of these characters involved in Monster Hunter at some point? I know Geralt was. Was Dante involved in Monster Hunter at any point?
Did they ever have a crossover? I don't know if they did.
It's
I know
Capcom.
it's Capcom, right? So you would 100% think they would. I know, yeah, you're right. Geralt was in there, but there might have been like the coat or something like that. I don't think they had him like a monster like they did for Geralt.
There is an outfit for Dante in
I think it was
Monster
like a
Hunter World.
pre-order bonus or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, where
I thought
Geralt was like an event.
yeah. Okay, so we can put Dante through. First match goes to Dante, and Geralt has been eviscerated by the fires of hell.
But hey, quite frankly, I think Batman would lose a lot of fights that people say, nah, he wouldn't because he would know their weakness. Well, you know what? If Superman flies at the supersonic speed and just obliterates Batman's head before he even knows what's coming, the little thing of kryptonite in his belt ain't going to help him.
Unless he punctures his skin with it, which is what happens in one of the comics.
He has to like get to that point.
Should we sideline and discuss those two first?
I don't know. And risk pissing off the internet? Sure.
We just killed Geralt of Rivia. I think we've already done that.
It's kind of like yeah, of course, right. But let's be honest with ourselves here, folks. half demon Dante, human Geralt of Rivia.
Well, augmented human.
Yeah. We don't know if there's any weakness to Dante.
No.
Even if we assume that they're due, unless if he's just like completely weak and useless without, I don't know. It would have to be like completely cripple him. Then yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'd say his biggest weakness is that he's overly cocky and...
Yeah, I think somebody who's stronger it would be Dante. Like it literally would have to be more badass.
Yeah. Geralt did defeat the Wild Hunt. Anyway, Link and Samus Aran, number 2. This is a tough one. These are very, I feel like these are similar characters in their capabilities.
Yeah.
I feel like at first I was like, well, Samus, because...
Yeah. But Link is...
Link's a capable boy.
Yeah, he definitely is.
I mean, he, again, just like, many characters on this list, defeats giant monsters. He has an arsenal of weapons that is kind of just endlessly expansive. I think, let me see. I'm trying to put, so what's Samus's big thing? She uses energy weapons. She has really tough armor, and
which I think we can almost assume that like the Sword of Light can just reflect,
or like his various shields. I guess like there are shields in the series,
that
are pretty strong against things like that. I was gonna say, but I mean, let's talk about how her weapons get more and more powerful and complex. Aside from just plasma beams and missiles to like crazy powerful ice beams and like dark matter cannons and shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah. All the things that Samus has gotten.
I mean, in Dread alone, she's extremely capable.
Right. Well, she's always extremely capable.
Yeah.
And then Link's kind of just thrown into the mix a lot of the times, quite frankly, but winds up succeeding. Which shows that he's just like naturally, it's almost like a naturally capable person versus someone who was raised to be a weapon, right?
Like a ruthless bounty hunter, basically. Well, and I guess going down to the agility. Let's talk about agility. I think Samus has Link on agility, as far as
Link's definitely an agile guy, but I don't think there's anybody who is more agile than like Samus.
Yeah, and like you think of the games and how you fight as Link, and a lot of the times you're on the ground, sort of holding a defensive position down until they're open for an attack. And while Samus is constantly dodging everything, grappling, sliding under stuff, warp dodging. If you're talking about Dread, she's got the warp dodge stuff. They both, I feel like, as in terms of their weaponry, they're kind of on par with each other.
Ballistics and long range weapons. Interesting. What if Link gets in close on Samus? What if it?
I think Link has melee over Samus for sure.
Yeah, obviously. Like she doesn't. She doesn't really do that. That's not her thing.
She has an melee attack. She does have a counter.
Right
now.
Yeah,
that's a big Dread thing.
Well, you would actually assume that she knows how to deal with something getting in her face, right? Of course.
The idea is that she's going to want to space back.
Right. But I mean, obviously she would keep her distance, especially against someone who might look like a seasoned fighter, keep her distance and do like a long range onslaught. But
and a strength that Link has is I feel like he's a multitasker. Like,
yeah,
and I'm not just talking, yes, I could pull that from Smash Bros because he fights with every freaking main weapon you can think of. But even in the games, it's like while you're fighting a boss or a strong enemy, it's like you're utilizing boomerangs and arrows and automated bombs and whatnot, boots.
We definitely assume that Link has like the ability to shoot a fucking missile out of the sky with his arrow, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Whether we don't have to get too real here, obviously.
And oh my god, if we're talking about Breath of the Wild Link,
right?
We've seen much more agility out of the character there. I still don't know if that's on par with Samus in that kind of setting, but he definitely has his precision down. So yeah, I think you could shoot an arrow out of the sky.
Yeah,
100%.
He basically can see in slow mo. So you would just do that easily, and then probably chuck out some bombs himself and stuff like. Here's the thing:
you hit that slow mo, and Samus is like, "I can't move. What's happening?"
Look, that's not how it works. All right, he's just seeing things much quicker than we do. All right.
Look, you have your headcanon. I'll keep mine. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I would say okay, so she also has her ball form.
Right.
With her bombs.
And then it's like super bombs. I don't know. It's like, do we want to just consider the fact that she could drop a super bomb and blow up a couple mile radius?
And let's say she has one super bomb. Like, she can't just throw like 20 super bombs down. Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to convince myself that Link could win this, and I'm not sure that he could.
Would Link it's like how much destructive force
does Link have?
No, does like a super bomb have, right? Do I think Link would have enough prowess to be like, whatever that is about to blow up really big? Like, let me get as defensive as possible here, or hook shot away, or some shit like that.
Yeah, and like again, we're coming back to the agility. Is he fast enough to yeet himself out of that?
But in the meantime, while he's doing that, wouldn't Samus just interact and stop him?
Yeah, and if you're gonna look at the hook shot versus the grapple beam's got it. Like that is a secondhand tool that she has.
So it almost comes down to like tech, who has the better tech. It's an arms race, and Samus wins that.
Well, and she's covered in armor. Link sometimes has armor, but
we can almost assume we're dealing with old green tunic.
I mean, I'm willing to throw Breath of the Wild in there just because that's such a cool version of Link, and I think Breath of the Wild is the full realization of what Link is as a combat character. That I think they would have done that in Ocarina of Time if they could,
Right.
So why not give him all those capabilities? And I feel like he's more slow paced than she is.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he is a. I guess he plays defending sort of counterattack. I don't know what you would call that, all right? Other than just sword and board fighting.
Kind of an arm's length thing. Like he likes he fights to stun and then flank and hit weak points.
Right.
While Samus tends to just go all out and double, triple jump around and grapple around and get to weak points. They're both still trying to hit weak points, but
I think if Link could get in, he would win that fight, but I don't think he would be able to.
I don't think Samus would let him.
Yeah, even with all of his arsenal, he might get close a couple times, right? But not really.
Yeah, and if they're fighting like,
and if it's a long fight, Samus wins that again too.
I mean, she's got like tracking and
she's not gonna run out of energy or anything. There's no stamina on Samus, I don't think. Not really.
Yeah, and things like his light arrows, that's not gonna do anything. That's a darkness weapon.
Yeah.
Not.
No, if anything, I
blind
think
her.
It's like his sword could pierce her armor. I don't think that.
Yeah. Can't she cloak? Can she cloak now? Phantom cloak. Yeah. No, she can just straight up go invisible.
Not to mention, the corkscrew and whatever the
screw attack and
screw attack, and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
that would just eviscerate Link.
Yeah, I feel like I still feel like her best weapon is speed against him.
Right.
You want to give it to Samus?
Yeah, I'll give it to Samus.
Okay. Sorry, Link, my boy. In the first round. My sweet.
I know.
Sweet boy.
That's tough, but
I feel like I'm gonna think of something he has. It's like, oh wait, no, she's screwed. He's just completely ruined everybody with this one weapon. He uses a Ocarina of Time, travels back to when they're small children,
and just snuffs them out right there.
I don't know. Maybe she's still really. I mean, she was raised to be a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one. I swear to God, folks, I shuffled this list. This is not. These matchups were not predetermined.
Yeah, sure.
I shuffled it 3 times like I always do. I press 1, 2, 3. I don't even look. And then I'm like, okay. Mario and Sonic in round number 3.
Okay.
At the Olympic Games.
Okay, wait. Just wait.
It's a me. I gotta go up fast.
Yeah. Let me... Yeah. Let's be real here. What the F is Mario ever gonna do here?
If we're talking about a healthy, balanced diet versus chili dogs, he's eating mushrooms, and that's
it, right?
While he's also ingesting fire plants,
right, and a lot of just weird shit. At least Sonic's consistent.
There have got to be dogs. This matchup has to be all over the internet. I don't know how I haven't come across it, but it's funny
if you're gonna sit there and tell me that Mario would ever beat Sonic in a fight, you're bullshitting, right? You just want Mario to win. He's gonna hop on his head. We're talking about the hedgehog that runs like however fast, ridiculously fast, and can go Super Saiyan, can go on like a hyper form of Super Saiyan. He goes like Super Saiyan level 4. No.
Can he turn into an elephant?
He would never even touch. Yeah, right. Yeah, and a werewolf, a werechog.
A werechog.
There's nothing.
You're not. No, you know what? I'm striking that from the record. He cannot turn into a werehog.
A werechog.
I will not allow it. But hold on, we have to.
He also kissed a human princess. All that good stuff.
Yeah, he's in jail. Straight to jail.
Yeah. One with the sword. I don't know what was going on there.
But if you're looking at, all right, let's think Odyssey, where Mario can literally control anything with his hat. What could he counter? How would you counter Sonic if you were Mario?
I just don't think Mario's that quick, right? To even figure out exactly what's going on there.
So what's Sonic going to do with
throw the hat at him, blind him with it, I guess maybe if he runs into it. I don't know. The hat is magical. It might be able to do a Doctor Strange thing,
Yeah.
Help cripple Sonic, and then he can jump on him. But it's not like, I mean, it's got to be like the strongest jump of all time, like Stomp. But I, I don't know. I don't think, like, if speed is the name of the game for a lot of these fights, I think Mario's literally just going to run circles around. I'm sorry, Sonic's literally just going to run circles around Mario.
But again, we talked last time about getting in close, which I think Sonic would have to do to win
Right.
the fight. He's not really strong when it comes, like, okay, his homing attack, I guess, is his best move outside of being supersonic. And let's ignore supersonic for a second.
Well, he spins around, right, at high velocity and then launches himself at something. It's almost like the same equivalent as a Mario jump, right?
Right.
We can almost assume, because you jump on something in Mario, it dies. You spin attack something, Sonic, it dies.
Right. Rule of attacks. Yeah, so let's say like these two characters both are looking to just get one solid hit on each other.
Right.
You gotta consider Mario's power-ups.
Of course.
Metal Mario.
He's Metal Mario, sure.
Sonic does a homing attack and whatever. Like, you don't do you think it's possible that that deflection, which would also, let's say, stun Sonic, making him lose all his rings soup. You're telling me there's no possibility that Mario could then counter an attack from Sonic once he finally does get in close to try and do damage. And then, you consider the power up, like, not just Metal Mario, but then you got Invisible Mario, where he can, like, essentially move through solid objects. That was a 64 one. I'm not sure that the hat thing is going to do him much good against Sonic. So I'm thinking, like, more classic power-ups.
Yeah, I don't think the water pack is really going to do much for him there either.
No, and I wasn't even considering. And I don't think Mario can use more than one power-up at once. Right. So it's like,
does he run him over with his cart?
I don't know. Can he bring a cart?
It wouldn't even be half as fast as Sonic.
No. Again, I think Sonic completely is going to wipe the floor with any speed-related thing. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to power, I do think there's a chance of Mario countering that. But
how, sure, if he could stay metal form indefinitely, it would be like a stalemate, right? Because I don't think Sonic would really have the power to get through that, right? But there's no way like Metal Mario would ever be able to, like, even if he was stunned, I'm pretty
super slow too.
Yeah,
Metal Mario is extremely slow.
I think Sonic would recover before Metal Mario really got. Well, I mean, because kind of unless we're dealing with like Hypersonic, right? Who
I don't think Mario has any counter to Supersonic.
Yeah.
If I'm really getting down to it.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, that's just exacerbating that difference in speed altogether.
Well, yeah.
And I don't know, like, how much stronger Sonic gets as Supersonic or Hypersonic, right? But, we can assume at least gets a little
fly.
Bit. Yeah.
And not only can he fly, he can do like superpower. I'm pretty sure in Sonic Frontiers he just flies straight through a solid giant metal beast. So yeah,
right. Virtually unstoppable.
I'll give it to Sonic.
So even we put that against, star-powered Mario, who's like invincible. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's also not permanent. And Hypersonic isn't either, but your star power lasts for like 3 of those.
Right.
And
Hypersonic lasts as long as you can
boss fight.
Yeah.
A whole ending to a game.
Right.
Sorry, Mario, you're dead with Link.
Thank God.
I would say I'm seeing a trend here, but Samus made it through, and she's an OG Nintendo.
I mean, quite frankly, I think like Sonic kind of would beat out a good bit of people just because how fast he is.
Well, that's good because he's got some serious competition in round 2, or the semifinals, I should say. The semifinals are really where it's gonna
pop off.
It's gonna pop off. So, moving on to round 4, we have Kratos versus Master Chief. I'll start.
It's kind of like, okay, so Master Chief is in fact a badass, but again,
they're both Spartans. I swear to God, I did not set this up. I swear.
I think you set this up. I'm just saying.
I promise. I swear. It's really funny.
That is pretty funny. Like, okay, so Master Chief is a badass. He does have metal bones and an advanced suit.
He has metal bones?
Yeah, oh yeah. All the Spartans do. Yeah. They replace their bones with metal bones, and a lot of them die. And then the ones that live become, soldiers. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he would die immediately, but I don't think Master Chief is beating Kratos.
It's hard to beat a mythical. It's kind of like the Dante versus Geralt situation here, but even worse because I think Master Chief is incredibly strong and
capable as far as like but Kratos is also a general and like a seasoned soldier as well. So like they're both soldiers. They both know how battle works from that standpoint.
And then one's, a god.
let's call him a demigod just for the sanctity of this list.
Because. Okay. Yeah. He was appointed godlyship.
Appointed to God. But he still represents humankind as well, or
right.
The lowly mortals as well.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. Master Chief,
so
super soldier versus like demigod with powers of like.
We can almost assume that Kratos would have some sort of ability to just like block bullets, right? Like there's something there. He probably
he's got that shield of
things around. Oh yeah, he's got the shield. Yeah.
He's got the freaking axe.
Right.
The ice axe, and then he's still got his blades of chaos, and he wields all those at the same time.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I think it would be a cool fight. I think Master Chief would hold his own more than Kratos would expect, but just because he wouldn't just cleave him in two instantly.
Right. But and let's say he had a banshee just for the fun of it.
Yeah. Just for the fun of it. Yeah, I mean,
he kamikazes a banshee right in the Kratos.
I don't think that would kill Kratos, right?
And then he just goes noob, teabag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Kratos.
Yeah, I'd give it to Kratos for sure.
And I don't really have much else to say about Master Chief because one, kind of dropped off a Halo after 3.
Yeah.
But let's say, he's still got everything from Infinite with his grapple hook and his super capable jumping and stuff. Yeah, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Same.
In probably the quickest matchup we've had so far, Kratos proceeds. Moving on to number 5, we have Mr. Leon Kennedy versus Raiden.
Let's see the update. There we go. There it is.
Takes a minute. We got Leon Kennedy, Resident Evil 4 remake versus Raiden.
What Raiden? What Raiden? I mean, I guess I didn't really think. Well, when I'm thinking about this, it's
Leon should really be going up against someone like Lara Croft or Jill Valentine, but he's stuck.
Well, I didn't exactly know we were doing like a
a battle.
a battle. Like who would win the fight? I thought we were thinking about the characters in general.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
because these are both characters that kind of start off like Leon isn't too bad, but they start off as the rookie.
Yeah,
and then they get their glow up.
Yeah. I mean, we could do that eventually if we're thinking.
But if we're talking about a straight up fight, I mean, Cyber Ninja Raiden, yeah, he's literally just gonna Leon's gonna take a shot at him. He's gonna take that shot to the chest and then eviscerate Leon. Now, if we're talking about not Cyber Ninja Raiden,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it would make sense to do in that situation. I feel like.
All right, let's say we don't talk about that, because I mean we could still, even as like a rookie, Raiden shows he knows how to wield a gun and a katana, right?
Yeah,
and has the capability to take out a giant humanized, mechanized robot weapon thing.
He fought an oil tanker, or like a what do you call it? A launch pad ship or something, whatever. He fought a boat with no arms.
Yeah.
Or is that how he lost his arms? I don't remember. I remember him fighting with a katana in his mouth.
Oh yeah, that was after he stopped. Yeah, that's how he loses his arm. He stops it.
He killed a boat and lost an arm.
Yeah, he loses his arm, like literally stopping it from crashing.
And that was when he only had one arm left, I think.
Yeah. And then he still comes back fighting with a katana in his mouth, just electrocuting people.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Leon. My sweet golden god.
And we're talking about that, right?
Even armless Raiden.
There's no way he could kill Raiden before Raiden just destroys him.
Yeah, I'd say even that version of Raiden is like above, say, Jack Krauser, who Leon dispatches. And Leon dispatches a lot of superhuman.
Yeah.
Enemies.
That's what I said. It's literally going to be Leon like shooting at Raiden and Raiden just taking those hits and then just eviscerating him.
You know what would have been a really fun matchup? Snake and Leon.
Yeah, that would almost been more even.
That would have been way more even.
But do we want to like call on our rules here and be like, okay, maybe that Raiden's a little unfair.
Yeah,
she's a little too badass.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Metal Gear Solid 2 Raiden, which is limiting him a lot.
Yeah, let's do like that, and then Resident Evil 1 Leon.
Like fresh cop.
The rookies, rookies that are still showed that they are incredibly capable.
Is it worth it though? Because wouldn't you like to see Katana Raiden in round 2?
Yeah.
Sonic and Kratos and Dante. It's really about. Yeah, I guess we have to figure that out first, but this could go so many ways. I feel like we owe it to them to give them their arc. Like if their arc brought them to a better capability, it makes sense for that to be the version. So I think unfortunately Leon is destroyed there by the fact that Raiden can deflect bullets with a katana.
Yeah, like easily, but then doesn't really have to, because I mean he is like mostly like a cyborg, right? So we know that, and he can take a massive amount of damage.
Sorry, Leon. There's some fodder on this list, but hey, they led their own video games, and let's be real, like Leon Kennedy also fought some crazy powerful.
Yeah, a lot of crazy powerful stuff. Absolutely.
Like he defeated the Mr. X
Mm-hmm.
with a rocket launcher.
Yeah. But we would take all of his arsenal, we know, right, and it can very easily deal with any of that.
I think he's gonna cut his head
Munitions mean nothing to the guy.
Yeah. All right. Number 6, round 6. We have Lara Croft, and I'm going with the remake, versus Ellie from The Last of Us. Sorry.
So I wish I knew like more about Ellie here. I mean, I guess she is fairly capable, right? And
I mean, would you call taking down multiple squads of like 10 or 11 like post-apocalyptic soldiers? Like,
yeah.
They pretty much do very similar things in their games.
Guerrilla tactics and very good at ambushing and all that good stuff.
And she's extremely brutal in Last of Us Part 2.
Really?
She's very angry and she's smart. Like it's about utilizing distraction, environment, and hiding, and which are things that Lara Croft is pretty capable with too. Yeah. And they both survive a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to think of they're so similar. I'm trying to think of what
they kind of are, right? Though Lara Croft kind of dips. Well, I guess they both do. What am I saying? The Last of Us definitely about zombies. I was going to say Lara Croft does kind of get a bit into the mythical, right? And feeding like, the last one that I played was, I think, the original remake where you fight like an Oni thing. Right. Yeah, which would definitely suggest you're at least on maybe like a Leon Kennedy level of fighting bosses. I don't know what you fight in The Last of Us. It's always seemed more about survival, but I don't know if there's any big bads or not.
I guess Ellie's biggest fight would be this like mega fungus zombie that is hibernating below a hospital.
Okay.
It's huge and
so kind of like same thing.
It's kind of just like an amorphous blob, sort of. But right. I'm trying to remember. Like it's definitely one of those like zombies turn into like it becomes just a monster because it's like this amalgamation of the fungus and the bodies and stuff. And that's a lot of like running away and like blowing it up. And I think eventually, I can't remember how she defeats it, but that's the most supernatural thing. That's, I guess
they really are kind of similar. It's like, okay, here's the fight. We drop them on a deserted island with hostile enemies. Who survives?
Yeah, and Ellie's more of moving across the Northwest.
Yeah.
And just kind of, like you said, guerrilla tactics, like taking people out in a measured. And I think the implied canon is that she wins through her like stealthiness and her ability to really just catch people in traps and take them out with throat slits and things like that.
Right.
Do you feel the Lara Croft from that one is more of a like a brick wall strong character in comparison, or do you think she's kind of the same stealthy, like fighting from the shadows?
Yeah, she's definitely more like stealthy fighting from the shadows. It just seems more, I guess it's more the same. I feel like maybe there's more intent on Ellie's side, right? Because she's they're both young, but Lara Croft is a bit older.
What would you say the main crux of her story is, or her game, is that she's just trying to survive and bad shit just keeps happening?
Yeah, for the most part, right? Because that's like the first remake is you're not really trying to dive. From what I remember, you're not really like trying to dive head first into that danger. It's more so you just get put in a bad situation and overcome. And then, of course, like that kind of leads into Lara Croft that we kind of know, which, you know, if we're dealing with even the original Lara Croft, I mean, that's probably like a seasoned fighter and maybe less. That doesn't have too much combat and stuff like that. So it's hard to go off, but you get it. You take it that she's very, very capable at what she does.
I guess I would be thinking of like, was it Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where that's like, is that the third game? Yeah, it's like Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Right.
And I don't know, I feel like it's her capabilities just kind of keep increasing and keep increasing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She's closer to like I guess a Nathan Drake would be as far as and I mean the whole thing about The Last of Us is that trying to ground it a little bit from the platforming Nathan Drake-ish style where they're swinging on giant cables through the air and doing it's like it's almost grounded, but it's just a little fantasy enough to be like over the top while Last of Us is trying to be very grounded.
Yeah. But that's why, I mean, I feel like you have to take it to like, okay, well, what's their biggest sort of superhuman accomplishments? Not that I really remember, but I feel like Lara Croft does just take on more of that. Maybe
superhuman things.
Yeah, maybe Ellie is a more was where a bit more of a someone who's good at like scavenging and
she's scrappy. She's scrappy. Yeah.
There's better word in my mind that I can't think of right now, but I think Lara Croft is just
I think she
basically like stronger, you know.
Yeah, I think she might take it because I'm thinking of Ellie. Like her main antagonist in that series is Abby, and Abby is a very physically strong person,
right?
Kind of like a tank, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like the whole their juxtaposition is Ellie is small and scrappy and quick, and that's how she handles herself in those fights. But the second someone like Abby gets her, it's kind of all over. Like she can't stand up to that strength. In fact, the only time she can stand up to Abby's strength, and I'm trying not to be too spoilery here, is when Abby is in like a weakened state.
Yeah.
That's not from like Ellie's doing. It's just how the story progresses.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I'm not sure she's I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it almost comes down to like you have someone who's like a tween to a teenager to someone who's in like their young 20s, and they don't really. It is hard to compare it that way, but you almost have to. It's just they're very similar, but I think Lara Croft is just a little bit better, even if we're talking about like from the beginning of their experiences.
Yeah. So
you know,
Lara Croft takes it.
Yeah, Lara Croft takes it.
All right. Sorry, Ellie. All right. Number 7, we have Aloy from Horizon.
Right.
Versus Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 3. And I guess, let's just say Resident Evil 3. That's the best version of Jill Valentine. Who I think I want to say in the Resident Evil fiction, she is poisoned by the T virus at some point.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't think that's complete movie fiction, right? She does. I mean, she's a member of STARS, right?
Which is a super like operative team,
right? So I mean, she's already capable there. If we're talking about, player in the original Resident Evil. I mean, even as like a rookie there, she makes it through that whole fiasco.
Yeah.
So she is completely capable, and then I think she does get kind of more like subhuman powers, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna say her superhuman powers are more related to when she is being used as a weapon by Umbrella and
Right.
Wesker's whole situation. So I'd take that off the table, since I think she recovers from that later on.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, she kills Nemesis.
Yeah. She does.
Multiple times she defeats Nemesis with like an arsenal of gear, just like Leon. But I don't know. There's something just more impressive about, because like Nemesis is this anthropomorphic giant, and I guess approaches fights not like a monster. I mean, he does at the end, but he more approaches it like, a fight. And I mean, yeah, you have Aloy who's killing robot dinosaurs, and that is extremely impressive. But I don't think this is as much of a layup as, say, like Raiden and Leon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I mean, I think, okay, so Aloy's got to be, definitely has a lot of agility. It's got to be able to deal with fighting
very fast,
like robot raptors and stuff like that. Very fast, very almost savage, right? In her strength and her attack.
And she's like a wild being. Like she lives in like a frontier, and
with the dealing with, her entire existence is basically one oh my god, what's the name of the city in Resident Evil? Raccoon City. A singular instance of Raccoon City.
I'd say it's more like living among dinosaurs, pretty much. Like living in a place where you are not the top of the food chain, so you're constantly. So yeah, it's not unlike zombie apocalypse-esque, where going outside isn't safe,
right,
and things like that.
And even worse, like tougher to deal with than just your average zombies. Obviously, Jill deals with more than your average zombies, but point is, I think Aloy is a very good fighter. But
yeah, and more than just giant beasts, but like there's like arena fights and sparring matches, and she has her spear that she uses for close encounters, and obviously several bows for all kinds of occasions.
Yeah, but how long can she outrun gunfire?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
and is Jill really going to miss too often?
Probably not. And she has a mine thrower.
Yeah,
like, I was gonna say, but Aloy
has. No, Aloy might be able to get the jump on her and just. I don't know.
I don't like. Well, you're talking traps, AOE projectiles, because she's gonna shoot like exploding poisonous bombs or regular bombs while she's throwing tripwires all up. I've played the game. You're constantly throwing things left and right, so you can then kite around. But like you said, guns, like nobody in Horizon is using bullets and rifles and stuff. And
it's Jill Valentine takes an arrow to the knee, and Aloy takes
bullets
shots to the head.
And she's straight up human. Well, wait. There's something with the.
I don't remember what her like little thing does.
There's something
with that. That would probably tell her a lot about.
Is she
what like a gun is? It was about that it's a projectile, right? And that she would have to.
She's genetically modified, but she's not like. She doesn't have like super strength or anything like that. She's just.
I mean, again, in a close fight, Aloy wins 100%.
Yeah, like without guns.
I mean, Jill isn't like bad in that. I don't think Jill is bad in that situation at all. Definitely knows like close quarter combat. But again, I think like that it would be like a savage onslaught that would just overpower Jill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just her toe-to-toe thing with Nemesis just gives me a lot more I don't know. It's
I
weird.
don't
It's
know.
because it's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
could Jill fight a
Well, maybe
giant?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could Jill fight a robotic Tyrannosaurus? Probably not. But that's like a weapon for the situation, not,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
And you got Alloy out here doing it with bows.
This is a tough one for me. This is a really tough
So,
one.
well, I mean, how strong could they be, right? If they're getting destroyed by
Well, yeah.
primitive weaponry. Well, not
Yeah.
always.
Well, the idea is like, that's the thing is Aloy is very precise
Yeah.
because she's shooting weak spots and she's knocking parts off and then turning those parts into weapons. Um, but one of her biggest strengths is that she manipulates the machines that she's fighting, and you can't really that doesn't apply here.
Right.
I'm not about to say that there's a bunch of dinosaurs running around that she can use.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe she runs up with like one as a steed,
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we start the fight off that way. She gets in close, but let's I don't. But I, it's like you have to consider that if you're considering Jill has guns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The ally's going to show up to that fight with the robot dinosaur, like.
But all that's gonna do is like maybe go after Jill a little bit and
Yeah, but they do like a
deer.
pincer attack, which they totally would.
I don't know. Are vehicles okay here? Because we didn't give Mario his cart,
Because it was pointless.
and Raiden didn't have his arms.
And he's still just electrocuting people.
That.
Yeah, yeah.
We just had Leon Kennedy fighting an armless Raiden with a katana in his mouth.
And I still think Raiden would win that fight.
Find me that animation online. I want it right now.
He literally electrocutes people when he doesn't have arms. How? I don't know. We never asked Kojima how or why.
Yeah.
You won't get a good answer.
Is Aloy beating Jill here? Or is Jill... I don't want to say Jill wins because she has bullets. It's
okay. Well, no. Well, I mean, so
because that could be.
Jill is supposed to be a really good fighter, though. Right?
Yeah, and like a survivalist, and
yeah. So, like maybe even.
I mean, she fights a bipedal, no, a quadruped version of Nemesis who is running on buildings
What?
with a mine thrower and like shotgun blast to the face. At least that's how I did it. And then she straight up kills one with like a well, that's with like a laser cannon. So I don't think she has a laser cannon here.
Right. But then, we have someone who kills robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow. And a spear.
Yeah.
It's like, which character do I like more? Jill. But who do I think wins that fight? If we're not to, let's just assume they both shoot at each other until they get in close. Who wins that fight? Alloy, probably?
Probably. Yeah. I don't know. That CQC goes pretty far.
It does go pretty far.
Just do a little, and then.
But I feel like I'm just saying Joe because I'm more invested in that character. But I don't know. I haven't played 3 like ever. So you tell me.
It's probably Aloy.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like again when I'm trying to really justify something, like I do think Jill gives her a very strong run for her money.
I think just Alloy was a person that was born and grew up in that sort of live or die environment.
Yeah, and I feel like the complete onslaught of weaponry of that like wild based weaponry is something that Jill wouldn't be able to withstand.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I think so too. Not really a forte.
All right, we got Solid Snake and Nathan Drake. That rhymes.
I know.
Not planned.
Giant Moose chocolate shake.
What am I do? Large fried chocolate shake.
Yeah.
I think it's Snake. I think when it comes to like Nathan Drake can climb real well, and he is capable when it comes to hijinks, like swinging around like crazy and shooting while he's hanging off of a car that's driving across a bridge. But if they're fighting one-on-one, that tactical advantage, just
we have a clone, but a soldier, just dude's literally made for warfare.
He's also extremely stealthy, like more than any character on this list.
Yeah,
he's got the stealth,
and then he has the prowess to deal with not stealth, right? Because it's always a game. Even if we're just talking about gameplay here, you don't always have to sneak around. You can just go guns blazing. Yeah. And then he takes on all matters of crazy shit. Yeah. So clearly,
he's also going to be leaving like little traps around.
Yeah. He just knows what he's doing.
Nathan Drake's smart.
Yeah.
But in like a himbo kind of way.
Yeah, he just seems like slightly above average Joe.
Exactly.
Whereas Snake is not. Snake is a one-man army, basically.
Yeah. And while I don't think that this really counts as the same thing, think about Big Boss's training, and I don't know. That one's a little weird because it's not like it was imparted to him, but whether that
kind of was
DNA, right? It kind of was, yeah. Like Foxhound and that whole situation and how people are trained to do things. I mean, he killed Big Boss, or defeated Big Boss.
Big Boss, yes.
Oh wait, wasn't that not Big Boss? We can't do this. It's in Metal Gear 1 and 2. In Metal Gear 2 on the NES, I don't know that that's Big Boss. I think that's someone using his name where he's killed in Zanzibar Land.
Zanzibar Land, yeah. Is that what I did? It's
it's
hard to follow even for us folks.
He doesn't kill him because he's at the end of 4.
Yeah, obviously. But then, okay, there's the whole bit with the cyborg ninja. But what was like the big?
That was Frank. That was that wasn't Big Boss either. The Cyber Ninja in 1. That's one of his cohorts from Foxhound.
Right. Okay.
He was basically dying, and so he put on the suit.
Yeah.
The last suit.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the whole thing. It's just like you thought you killed Big Boss.
Yeah.
And Big Boss wanted everybody to believe he had died? Or was he being held?
He wanted everybody to believe he had died.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, I think it's still Solid Snake.
Yeah. And I still think he probably could have, right? Because he was like the best of the clones, pretty much.
Yeah. Who wants to be Solidus? That sounds gross.
That does sound gross.
Liquid? He had to become part of someone else's body. Okay, Solid Snake goes. Or Solid Snake advances.
Well, if you remember, that actually didn't happen, and it was just Ocelot using suggestive therapy on himself to
I hate that man so much. Like, who lets people get away with this?
We do. We sit there and we say like, this is awesome, right? Like,
we're like,
there's nothing wrong with this at all.
No, not at all. And then we're like 33 making a list, and some podcasts were like, I don't know about. Okay.
I don't care.
Somebody want to
I've
check
never
on Kojima's internet browser history, maybe?
Yeah. I've never once said his stories were coherent or made any sense. I just said I love them to death.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week, y'all are gonna get round 2 and semifinals matchups. Because I'll be out of town. So I'm gonna be spreading this out over 2 weeks, and then we'll get back to the retrospective the following week. So for now, podcast week back to back. Thanks everybody. Love ya. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and see you later. Be nice.
Bye.
Bye.